Morgan Riche was the man on the mission yesterday and took 3 from 3 in the 5:15. Starts on pole position ahead of Alessandro Glauser from Switzerland. Sebastian Humpelhardt and James Beecroft ran at the top 2 rows representing Germany and the United Kingdom. Dennis Valentin Sturm, Cyprus by way of Germany because he's originally from Germany but now resides in Cyprus ahead of Sławomir Manansky from Poland. Thomas Piet in 7th will have fellow countryman from Germany, Michael Becker, alongside. Robert Schlunzen. People might say, where's the surname from? It's German. It's part Danish, part German, as I found out from my good friend, Mr. Konrad Bayer, who came to pop by and visit me yesterday evening, and it was good to see him after nearly 2 years. Pritsai from Estonia in P10. Christoph Adams from the Netherlands, 11th, ahead of Christophe Capitan from France. Ian Gepps and Tom Dessert, both representing Belgium in 13th and 14th, ahead of Bruno dos Santos and Thierry de Jong from France and the Netherlands, respectively. Then we got Nicolas Mazinas, Karl Klebort, Jörg Müller, Peter Gürtay and Maxim Shaposhnikov. That is your 21-strong grid. And one of the things I like about the Rotax racing family, Esme, is that there is a class for everybody.
True, yeah, and of course with these masters I think the masters, yeah, of course they are the most experienced guys on the grid, most racing experience, but they're still so eager to win.
Very
you know
much,
that.
Yeah, very much the case. One particular story from the other year, Christoph Adams went as far as South America. He went to the to Rotax Max Challenge Argentina, of all places. So, like the Trofeo Nacional, to go and compete for a ticket for the grand finals. He's the most decorated qualifier, and he's going to be representing Team Netherlands this year. Okay, 14 minutes on the clock plus an additional lap. Morgan Riche is the man to beat here today at Karting Genk. Alessandro Glauser could have a shot at him. So could James Beecroft. Sebastian Humpelhardt. Keep your eyes on Dennis Valentin Sturm. Imagine if Robert Schlunzen comes through and becomes the party pooper, so to speak. It could happen. It's all to play for in DD2 Masters. Into the tram lines. Revs rise. Are we ready? We are. Lights out and off and away in racing. And into the first corner, it is Morgan Riche that leads as Sebastian Humpelhardt tries to go up the inside of Alessandro Glauser through into turn 2. For the first time, as Beecroft has lost out, as Jörg Müller has just literally managed to circumnavigate his way. He threaded the eye of the needle through several drivers up in front, which included Tom Dessert, Nicolas Mazinas, Thierry de Jong, I think, was in there as well. So Jörg Müller got a bit of a wake-up call. We had a bit of a conversation when Conrad's had a chat with him, and he said, Jörg Müller said, I was only here to have a bit of fun karting, and I'm expected to race. Well, Jörg, with your experience, I would expect nothing less. Robert Schlunzen's got the right mindset for that one. But we are into the first 45 seconds completed, and Morgan Riche leads the way. And Alessandro Glauser is now in 3rd behind Sebastian Humpelhardt. Thomas Piet rounds out the top 4 initially, but now drops to 5th as Robert Schlunzen up from 9th to 6th position. James Beecroft has dropped to 7th, ahead of Sławomir Manansky. And there is Maransky battling away with the 5:02 of Christophe Capitan. Michael Becker is there. Christoph Adams is there as well. Good to catch up with him this morning as Jörg Müller has just sent it up the inside of Tom Dessert to retake back 15th position. As Maransky, oh, that was a brave move from the driver from 46 team, based out of Wrocław in Poland. The 2018 Rotax Max Euro Trophy DD2 Masters champion. And here comes Christophe Capitan. Looks like James Beecroft is starting to struggle a little bit, but the Brit's always going to have that stiff upper lip and keep on battling away. And already Morgan Riche, Esme, has pulled out a gap. It's going to be probably the best part of just over half a second.
Yes, yeah, he has been flying all weekend long. I wanted to do an interview yesterday with him, but he speaks French. Being from France, of course, and I don't speak any French, so unfortunately I couldn't do an interview with him. But he has shown us that he is in a really great form this weekend.
Yeah, someone on form who's had the wake-up call yesterday, now has decided to bring the fireworks as well. Jörg Müller has just gotten past Pritzai for position, and that looks to be around about 13th place. So Dennis Valentis Turm is trying to battle away with the likes of Alessandro Glauser, who is in front, the Swiss driver, the 507 from FM Racing, and who's got behind him Thomas Piet and Robert Schlunzen. And I know, Conrad Bayer, you're watching with great abandon this race as Carl Klibor up the inside of the 588 of Thierry de Jong. That's for 18th position. So 3 minutes down, 11 to go, plus an additional lap, and Mogarish has got a lead of 1.1 seconds. Sebastian Humpelhardt in second. Alessandro Glauser. Thomas Piet sends it up the inside through turn 6 on Dennis Valentis Turm, and Turm runs wide as a result. And there is Robert Schlunzen. Schlunzen waiting to pick up the pieces as Michael Becker going side by side with Slavomir Moransky going through into turn number 7, and Becker's made it through. That was a great move. It was caught off camera, but I saw it happen. The Becker just threaded the eye of the needle, had enough room to make the move work, and he did pull it off. So well done to him as, Schlunzen, I think, might have just gotten a bit caught out there. Going into turn 10, and he's battling away for 4th on the road. And now that's, look at the rest of the field. They're closing in on him. So Schlunzen lost out big time. Michael Becker's now capitalised and I think has gotten past. And that is the case, as has Slavomir Moransky. So whether that misstep from Robert Schlunzen has cost the 522 representing Denmark big time. And Glauser still keeping Sebastian Humpelhardt very, very honest for second position on the road. Mogarish 1.3, nearly 1.3 seconds up the road thus far. And Esme, again, we have had no shortage of action, and even with the fact that any driver that's in DD2 Masters is over the age of 34, we've got drivers in their 50s competing in this class. They still have that passion, that joie de vivre, as the French would say,
yeah.
that fulfillment of life. Going, yeah, I like karting.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm going to do it as long as I can.
Yeah, and that's. I spoke to some of the guys yesterday with the interview, and you just notice these guys. They just absolutely love racing. They love the battles they have, and again, yeah, we said it many times, but there's great respect between the drivers. It's just, yeah, it's so great.
I think you had a chat with James Beecroft yesterday as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
So I think it just goes to show that drivers in karting, you can go into multiple different categories. Some people might want to go up to like Formula One or the World Endurance Championship, the latter which has just concluded its season, funnily enough, this weekend. And we have to say a very many congratulations to Ferdinand von Habsburg, world champion for the World Endurance Championship with Team WRT this weekend. So a bit of Belgian pride, courtesy of Vincent Voss and his team. They not only won Le Mans, the 24 hours this year, they've won the World Endurance Championship in LMP2, so congratulations to them. Also, speaking of WEC champions, Pro-Am champions for 2021, Jumbo Team Nederland won the title in Bahrain. So Fritz van Aert, Guido van der Garde, all those guys there, Job van Uitert, I think, as well, is in that crew. Done a fantastic job, and they've got a title to boot as well. So a lot of people within either the Dutch or the Austrian or maybe even the karting community, because we know that Guido, Job have all competed in karting through the years past. But with 7 minutes and 54 seconds to go, Mogarish is still setting fastest laps. Well, he's setting personal best, but Michael Becker, the 526 from Germany, is the fastest one out there, Esme, 54.817. Yeah, that was your cue. Don't worry, this is the first time we've worked together in the commentary box. But,
yeah, and this is, of course, not my job.
No, it's not your job, but you're learning, you're understanding, and that's the main thing above all. You're having a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah,
but Michael Becker's the fastest one out there. He's now got about, the best part of 2.1 seconds to close on Thomas Pitt for 4th position. Michael Becker has still got plenty of time, though, hasn't he?
Yeah, for sure. 7 minutes to go plus one additional lap. It's still very close. Anything can happen, really.
Yeah, and the sunshine again comes out onto the circuit as Robert Schlunzen is trying to go for another bite of the cake. figuratively speaking, not literally, but he's got Slavomir Baransky ahead of him. A big thank you to the fact that we've got nearly 600 people watching the stream at the moment. Thank you very much for tuning in. It's greatly appreciated. We know it's been shared far and wide as Dennis Thum gets past Michael Becker. So Becker's on the back foot once again, and that is the battle for 5th place. So both have competed against each other in German Rotax Championships. Now they're doing it on one of a big stage, a big international platform, and perform the Golden Trophy here at Karting Genk. So local time fast approaching 1:30 in the afternoon. And now with the sunshine ablaze, I think everyone's going to be very happy to get a bit of vitamin D rather than having a bit of vitamin wet with regards to the weather that we've been having quite recently here at Karting Genk. The microclimate, the weather as we discussed earlier here, Esme, it can be dry in one place, it can be wet in another, like I said, at Spa-Francorchamps, but also Zolder, another well-known track here in Belgium. You know, even in the Netherlands, like Lansard at Eindhoven, another circuit that we all know of. And Zandvoort, Assen, you know, there's so many tracks here that they are surrounded by the same sort of microclimate because they're in very close proximity, aren't they?
Yeah, and especially with the weather in the Netherlands, Belgium, you never know what you're going to get. They forecasted a lot of rain for today, but ever since we started, we haven't seen any rain yet. Of course, rain's over the night, so that's why we had a few wet races this morning, but now it's looking quite well, but still some clouds far away. They might pick up above the circuit. So yeah, you don't know. You never know.
We'll wait and see what happens. Jorg Müller embroiled in a battle with Carl Klibel and Bruno dos Santos. So Jorg Müller currently sitting in around about 12th or 13th position by my count as they head down into turn number 10. Just under 5 minutes to go on the clock. And Dennis Valentis-Thum still leading this battle for what is now 5th on the road ahead of Michael Becker. Robert Schlunzen is trying to catch up to them. And Robert Schlunzen on the last lap was pretty much comparable on time, so he's not making any inroads. If he had like 2 or 3 tenths of a second in that previous lap, he'd be absolutely fine, and they would be looking over the right shoulders, they'd be looking over the left shoulders thinking, hang on, he's catching us. And that is happening because Robert Schlunzen now is, well, right, Thomas Pietz, you had a chat with him earlier on, and that is a wheel he's holding in his hand, and that is off of turn number 6. That's a real shame for Thomas Pietz, who was running P4, and that is the left rear. That just goes to show that you have to have a bit of mechanical sympathy, and especially, Esme, when you're going over these curbs here at Genk, some of them are quite high up, and what that does is always puts through the vibrations through the back axle. The nuts and bolts, they put through the vibrations, they can either unscrew themselves, or they can sometimes shear off, and not only do you get the wheel, the hub, you also get the bearing as well from the back axle on the wheel itself, don't you?
Yeah, it's a lot of vibration, especially vibration we always notice over the curbs.
Yeah.
It's very physical, not only for you, of course, because you're in the kart, but also for the kart itself.
Yeah, so that just
can
goes...
be very tough.
Yeah, Thomas Pietz this year in the RMC Germany Championship has had some great performances, but there's also been, he's had a bit of trials and tribulations where hasn't quite worked out how it would be if there weren't any sort of like mechanical failures or things like that. But the sunshine definitely beating down on the track here at the home of champions. And the air temperature currently 11 degrees Celsius. Sunshine, I think everyone who has got their sunglasses with them.
Riesch very comfortable in the lead.
Yeah, indeed.
He's not giving it away this weekend.
Yeah, indeed. Morgan Riesch nearly 3.3 seconds up the road from Sebastian Rumpelhardt. Alessandro Glauser in 3rd. Now it's Dennis Thum who has ended up 4th, courtesy of Thomas Pietz's unfortunate retirement just a lap ago. Michael Becker trying to stay ahead of Robert Schlunzen. And I'm just going to keep an eye visually on where they are as Jorg Müller is definitely having a battle of his own to contend with. He's battling with the likes of Bruno dos Santos and Ian Getz, and Jorg Müller hopefully will get an opportunity. But Bruno Dos Santos up the inside of Ian Gepps, who now does the switch back. Jorg Müller waiting in the wings, and he's got an absolute massive toe as Jorg Müller alongside Dos Santos. And they do a switch around through turn 2, but at the meantime, at the front end of the grid, Robert Schlunsen has caught up with Michael Becker and also Dennis Valentij-Sturm. There's Slavomir Moransky, Christophe Capitan, Christophe Adams, and James Beecroft. There's Carl Clebot, Fritz Sai, Ian Gepps, Bruno Dos Santos, and also Jorg Müller. As we're into the last minute and a bit, plus an additional lap of this race. So Mogarish's lead now extends to 3.8 seconds. Alessandro Glauser a further 0.3 behind Sebastian Humpelhardt. And Alessandro Glauser is still in third. Dennis Thurm battling away. Here goes Michael Becker up the inside. Well, he tried to go up the inside, thought better of it that particular occasion. And Robert Schlunsen is catching them, so Robert Schlunsen could be putting himself, if he can, try and get up to row 2 of the final. So 15 seconds on the clock to go as Mogarish goes on to the penultimate lap. So we will have this and one more to go. We're going to be on lap number 16 out of 17. As Jorg Müller still battling away. Tom Dessert a little bit lonely at the back end of the field, where he's been battling away with Nicolas Mezinas as Mogarish down the Europalan once again. But Mogarish, you said that he's been on fire all day long yesterday, and today he's just carried that form in. He's got complete confidence in the equipment underneath
easy with him.
Yeah, complete confidence with regards to how he's been running. And to be completely honest with you, I don't think anyone can challenge him. The closest that could do so would be the likes of Sebastian Humpelhardt and Alessandro Glauser, as now Mogarish goes on to the final lap that brings us into the lunch break. So Humpelhardt second, Glauser third, Valentij-Sturm fourth, Michael Becker fifth, Robert Schlunsen in sixth, Slavomir Moransky, Christophe Capitan, Christophe Adams, Carl Clebot, James Beecroft, Fritz Sai, Bruno Dos Santos, Jorg Müller now up into 14th position. Ahead of Ian Gepps, Tom Dessert, Nicolas Mezinas, Thierry de Jong, Peter Gyotai, and Maxim Shaposhnikov from the RAF. And that's the Russian Athletic Federation. Thomas Piet, unfortunately, retiring on lap number 10. But Mogarish really has done a number on the rest of the field as he comes out of turn number 11. And the Frenchman is one step away. He'll start on pole once again for this afternoon's final that closes out the Golden Trophy, and he takes the victory. And that lead is rather commanding. Sebastian Humpelhardt in second place, as Robert Schlunsen trying to close up to Michael Becker, but misses out on fifth place. Alessandro Glauser in third position. But Esme, Mogarish, we've talked about this man, and when you don't talk about him enough, you know he's doing a damn good job, don't you?
Like I said, it just looks so easy, and so it's easy to mistake it from not being that special, but looking at the end, he got 4.5 seconds. That's impressive. Just really good, and he has been really good the whole weekend, and I'm nearly as confident as he is that he will put up a great show for the finals. Yeah,
definitely. Well, let's see if we can have a look at our results from the DD2 Masters pre-final as they make their way into Parc Fermé. It's Mogarish and Sebastian Humpelhardt that are your top two. Mogarish winning by 4.5 seconds. Alessandro Glauser in third, ahead of Dennis Valentij-Sturm, Michael Becker, Robert Schlunsen, Slavomir Moransky, Christophe Capitan, Carl Clebot, Christophe Adams, James Beecroft, Fritz Sai, Bruno Dos Santos, Jorg Müller, Ian Gepps, Tom Dessert, and Nicolas Mezinas being running at the top 17, ahead of Thierry de Jong, Peter Gyotai, and Maxim Shaposhnikov, with Thomas Piet unfortunately retiring on lap number 10.